Hello, everybody. Welcome to LettermenRow.com. I am Jeremy Birmingham. This is Birminology, where we talk to Ohio State recruits, commitments, prospects from around the country. And we have a special guest on the show today, someone I know a lot of the folks in the YouTube comments have been asking about over the last few weeks. Quinn Ewers, the Ohio State 2022 quarterback commitment, 5-star prospect, number 1 ranked quarterback. Give him all the accolades, whatever. He just wants to play football. Quinn, thanks, man. I appreciate you joining the show. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
What's life been like for you in the last 3 weeks?
For me, it's kind of just been like, because I had surgery about 3 weeks ago today, actually, or yesterday, 3 weeks ago yesterday. So on my groin. So right now I'm just doing physical therapy on that and just trying to get back if I can't get back during the playoffs. So. Has
that sort of made it easier to avoid all of the – I mean, you committed to Ohio State on November 19th, and you sort of went quiet, which I guess is ideal for you. But has that made it easier to avoid all that stuff and just kind of focus on you?
Yeah, kind of just block everything out, just getting my PT in, you know, because I got to get back and healthy if I want to, you know, start playing football again.
Do you feel good about the chances of getting back to playing in the playoffs, or are you still on the fence about whether or not that's going to happen?
Yeah, you know, I'm hopeful, obviously, but right now it's tough right now to kind of gauge when I'm going to be back. So, and it just depends how well we do throughout the playoffs.
Quinn, you play at South Lake Carroll High School, one of the country's most elite, you know, high school football programs. How do you think that playing at a place like Carroll has prepared you for the next step in your football career?
Yeah, you know, I think it's prepared me pretty well because, you know, playing in the highest level in Texas, you know, Texas being one of the top places you can play high school football, I think it's one of the best ways to get prepared for the next level. So I think, you know, I'm ahead of some people so far.
The first time I saw you throw a football, Quinn, was before you even entered high school. I don't know if you remember meeting me that day in the Woody Hayes Athletic Center or not. It doesn't matter if you do. I'm not going to be offended. But I remember when I got home that day and I was writing up about the camp that you were at in Columbus. That was a camp that had Dwan Mathis and a few other guys, and you know, who've played a couple years of college football already. And I remember writing that I thought that you were the most polished looking quarterback there. And that was before you had grown, really, before you had played high school football. How did this happen for you? How did you become that guy so early?
You know, that's a good question that I don't really have an answer to. You know, just good training, I guess, growing up, good family, good people behind me, just kind of, you know, preparing me for this moment. And, you know, I don't really have an answer for, you know, how I just became that guy, I guess.
Do you remember the first conversation you had that day with Ryan Day when he was the offensive coordinator for Ohio State?
I remember more of Coach Urban Meyer than Coach Day, honestly. But, you know, both of them kind of were just, like, surprised about, like, how young I was.
You were slinging it. I remember that pretty well. I remember when you got the offer. Did it feel real at that time, or when did like the actual interest from schools like Ohio State, Texas, Notre Dame, Alabama, like the world of college football, when did it go from being like a pipe dream to being a real thing for you?
Yeah, definitely when I got that Ohio State offer, you know, summer going into freshman year, no, I don't really know if I kind of knew what it meant yet. So, but obviously I started picking up a couple more after that, and I kind of just clicked in my head, kind of, you know, maybe I have a chance to do pretty well.
Did you think for a single moment that when you got that offer before heading into high school that Ohio State would ever be the place you would commit to?
You know, I didn't even have thoughts about any colleges when I got that offer. So not really. I don't know. Not real sure.
Has life, I mean, you're obviously in Texas. You know, you made the decision to not go to Texas and commit to Ohio State instead. How different Have people treated you different in your hometown, or is it just kind of like, hey, Ohio State is Ohio State?
Yeah, no, I definitely haven't been treated any differently over here, because I feel like in my town, there's not a whole lot of Longhorn fans. It's kind of spread out from like Longhorns, Oklahoma. I mean, I feel like it's kind of scattered, so it wasn't too bad. But I had the occasional like, why did you commit? But it wasn't like disrespectful or anything. It was kind of just, they were just curious.
I'm less interested, and I think a lot of our readers and watchers and listeners are probably less interested in why you decommitted from Texas, as why did you pick Ohio State? And again, you've been able to stay pretty low key in these last few weeks, but what was it about the relationships you had at Ohio State or the off, and why Ohio State for you, and why now?
Yeah, definitely, and I picked Ohio State just because the scheme they do, and I feel like it's a good pro style, kind of gets you ready for the next level after college football. And obviously Coach Day knows how to develop his quarterbacks, and he obviously knows what he's doing with all that. So, that's one good reason. And also my relationship with Coach Dennis is really good. We can talk about pretty much anything. So
Corey's only like a year older than you, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's why we have such a good relationship.
Was that something that, when you committed to Texas in August, I think a lot of people may have just assumed that there was no chance or any reason to keep recruiting you. Was it unusual in the way that Corey Dennis continued to build a relationship, or was he not alone in that, I guess?
No, he was pretty much alone in that subject.
And you now, as the face of the Ohio State 2022 class, along with guys like C.J. Hicks, Deshaun McCullough, et cetera, how important were those guys for you in just feeling comfortable with that decision? Because, whether or not you're getting a lot of crap from people at home right now, eventually people will probably bend your ear a little bit about that. How important were the relationships you had with the other commits to make that decision now, as opposed to waiting till like next summer?
Yeah, obviously having guys that are already committed there and just kind of talking to them and seeing why they want to go there and whatnot obviously helped me a lot. And I feel like we all kind of had some of the same reasons as why we wanted to go there, which tells you something, obviously. But yeah, having relationships with those guys, it helped a lot, just seeing their perspective on the things and my perspective, and kind of just putting two together.
I know that you are a pretty low-key guy off the field and super competitive on it. How do you see your role as a recruiter in this class moving forward? We know that Caleb Burton committed 3 days after you, and that's a big one. The country's number one receiver or number one quarterback kind of go together. What else do you see as the role that you play as a recruiter moving forward?
Yeah, obviously I have some recruiting to do on some O-linemen and whatnot. So I'm just gonna, just tell them what Ohio State brings to the table, and what the potential of Ohio State's gonna be, and the background that Ohio State has, and hopefully they make the right decision.
The NCAA, the dead period is continued till April. You have family property in Ohio, is that correct?
Yeah, it's a farm.
So a farm where you just go and hunt and stuff like that?
Yes, sir.
Is there a plan to get back to Columbus area anytime soon for you and the family, just to maybe get more familiar with the Midwest?
Yeah, I was supposed to go up to the farm 3 weeks ago, but I had to go to Philadelphia for surgery. So I was pretty bummed out on that. I wanted to go hunt up there. But, I don't have a timeline on when we're going to get back up there quite yet, but I'm sure we're going to go pretty soon. Just check it out.
What do you hunt?
Whitetail deer.
One of the guys that works with Lettermen Row, his name is Anthony Schlegel. He's a former linebacker who played at Ohio State. He's from Texas. And he loves hunting deer. And we were talking about you a few weeks ago, and he's like, "Oh, I can't wait to go to his farm." So I don't know that he'll ever get that chance, but you have some fans up here who are like, oh, hell yeah, a guy that likes to hunt. Quinn, what else do you do? I mean, you play quarterback, you hunt deer. Who are you off camera, away from the game?
I mean, that's basically all I really am. I do school, I do my physical therapy, and come home and just hang out with the family. That's basically it.
Do you understand the pressure, I guess, that comes with being the quarterback at a place like Ohio State?
Yeah, obviously it's a big role, but I try not to think about all that. It helps with not feeling as much pressure. I've never really kind of, growing up wanting to be the quarterback for South Lake Carroll in such a prestigious high school, and what they do for football obviously is pretty important to me. And all I was told growing up was how much pressure there is and how much pressure it comes with being the quarterback at South Lake. And I feel like I kind of do better whenever there's some pressure on the line. And, I don't really feel a whole lot of pressure, to be honest with you. And I'm not trying to be cocky about it or anything, but that's just how I am.
No, I mean, I completely understand. If that is the standard, if that is the expectation, then there's no reason to feel stressed out about it, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
What do you see, happening over this next year for you? Are you planning to enroll early? Do you have a plan in place for that? I mean, what do you want to happen from now till next December when signing day for you comes?
Yeah, so I've taken classes, and I'm going to be an early enrollee. So I'm going to be there in next January or whatever.
Is there anything specific in the way that Ryan Day and Corey Dennis have developed Justin Fields, or that Ryan Day did with Dwayne Haskins, that you see like that's the primary thing that he can do for you? I mean, I guess from somebody who's an outsider who doesn't really understand the quarterback position that well, what is the one or two things that they do different?
Yeah, I feel like they put more time into Justin, and even the small things like his release. They changed his release over this quarantine or whatever it was, or last summer or something like that. I forget when it was, but they changed his release and kind of, how he releases the ball. And I feel like he's throwing a lot better than he did last year just from that. And I just want people like that to, care about that, even the small things like that, and not being scared to change a couple things.
I don't want to keep you too much longer, Quinn, but I do. What's the worst game you've ever played?
Worst game I ever played? Shoot. Probably, that's a good question. In my high school career?
It doesn't have to be. I mean, if there's one that stands out to you, I'm just curious as to how. I'm thinking about Justin Fields and the Indiana game and the 3 interceptions and 2 of them that were very, very bad. What's the one game where you've left it and said, what the heck was I just doing?
Yeah, I had a game this year. We played Rockwall, and we actually ended up losing that game. But I threw 2 interceptions pretty late, and that we were driving down the field. It was the last drive. There was 50 seconds left. We were driving to win, and I threw a game-losing interception, so probably that one.
How did you do the next week?
The next week, I think I threw for 300 yards or something like that, and 5 touchdowns, I think.
Well, I think that's one of the things about being the guy is that you have to be able to put away a bad game and prepare for what's next.
Yeah.
Couple other things. What's your favorite meal? These are questions, Quinn. Nobody knows these answers about Quinn Ewers, and we just need to know. What's the food choice for you on a Sunday afternoon family dinner?
Shoot, probably I make this, it's kind of like a hamburger helper, but I put deer meat with macaroni and cheese, and it's pretty good. But I don't know if that's my favorite. I like fried shrimp, probably. Fried shrimp's those are top 2 for sure.
What is the top? What is the like pump up song for you before a game? Or are you a no music guy? When I played sports, I was a no music guy. I wanted silence.
Yeah. Well, I listen to a lot of country music, so it's kind of hard to get kind of hyped up from that. But
well, I don't know about that. I mean, it depends on what you're listening to, of course.
Yeah,
but as long as you're not listening to Florida Georgia Line like Mark Pantoni likes.
Yeah, no, I'm not big in Florida Georgia Line. I'm more like Texas country. But that's a good question. I don't know. I'm not real sure.
Okay, so let me spin off that. Who's your Texas country artist of choice? Mine's Randy Rogers Band, by the way, but that's
I like Co Wetzel.
I've just recently been introduced to Cole Wetzel because one of my coworkers has a big Texas country obsession. Very, very unusual country music for people out there who are expecting it to be like traditional country and western. It's not the same.
Yeah, no, it's not.
Well, look, Quinn, I really do appreciate your time. I know that you're just coming home from a haircut, and that's something we'll talk about down the road. I imagine the Quinn Ewers haircut of choice, because that'll draw a lot of attention over the next few years. But thanks so much for being on the show, man, and congratulations on the decision. Good luck on your recovery and getting ready for the return to action in the playoffs.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you again for having me.
Yes, sir. That's Quinn Ewers. I'm Jeremy Birmingham. This has been Birminology on Lettermen Row. Thanks for watching, everyone. Have a great time. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.